and tonight is one opportunity for the people in the community to help to advise us so that we can move forward with your input as part of our plan. This is a little information about the district. The district currently has 14 schools under receivership. 4 of our schools are persistently struggling schools, and those schools are listed: East High, Charlotte, James Monroe, and Dr. Martin Luther King School 9. And then there are struggling schools, and we are a struggling school. And you can see we have some company. There are 9 other schools, but we are committed. We are committed to getting our school off of the list and becoming a high-performing school.
What does receivership funds in the school's budget? Expand the school day or school year, establish funds in the school budget, order professional development, convert the school to a charter school, remove staff or require staff to all will not be invoked this year. These are things that the receiver can do, some of which are being currently done, in the process of being done, but all is not done as of yet.
What does this mean for schools for New York State Commissioner of Schools? In the 15-16 school year, School 44 is not eligible for a proportion of the money. Remember we said there are certain things that the receiver can do. He has not given us a portion of the $75 million. However, we have been named in a SIG grant, a school improvement grant, and our funds will come from that grant.
Background information. The board approved closure of several elementary schools. School 44 was one of the lowest performing schools in the district a few years ago. We were approved to be closed by the year 2020. School 16 was moved from the southwest to Freddie Thomas campus, leaving School 44 as the only neighborhood school in the southwest. Southwest Community Partners successfully lobbied the board to return kindergarten classes to School 44 and keep the school open until 16 school is remodeled and reopened on its original site. It is important to note that over the last couple of years, School 44 has begun to make small progress, as I stated earlier, moving from, at one time, ranked last in our school district to being ranked 7th in our school district to currently this past year being ranked 17. So we moved from ranked 35 a few years ago to being ranked 7 according to New York State.
17, right.
Which is showing growth. We're not where we want to be, but we're making progress, and that will continue.
And we were 35 out of 35 because there were 35 elementary schools in the city school district. This was our enrollment as of last year. We had 54 students in our pre-K classrooms. We have 3 pre-K classrooms last year and this year. We are trying to fill these classrooms, so if you know pre-K students, please send them our way, and kindergarten children as well. Last year, we did not have kindergarten children in our school. We had a total of 283 students in our school without the UPK students as part of that number. The population is divided among Black or African American students, 79%, our Latino population is 7%, and white, 5%. English language learners, ALP students, were at 7%. We had students with disabilities at 11%. We had 2 special education classrooms. Economically disadvantaged, this is our poverty ratio, and it's at 92%. And our scores for the 2014 year for ELA, grades 3 through 8, we're at 2%. This is when 7th and 8th graders were part of the profile of the school, and 6% of the students were at proficiency rate in mathematics. This is the profile for our upcoming school year. There are 3 pre-K classes, 2 kindergarten classes that are new this year. We skip first grade. We go to second grade. We'll have 2 second grade classes, 2 third grade classes, well, actually 3 third grade classes, one of them being a special education class, 2 fourth grade classes, 2 fifth grade classes, and 2 sixth grade classes, one of them being a special education class, and we have a large number of our L students at the 6th grade level.
What's in RL?
Pardon?
What's in RL? Our English language learner.
English language
Okay, by school performance, we are mathematics. This is for the prior 2 years. As you can see from 2013, we had 1% scoring at the level 4, which was 4% overall proficiency level between the 3 and 4s. 3 students scored at the level 3. About the next year, last year, 2014, we had 5 students score at level 3 and one student score at level 4. We ended at 6%. I believe our district average was 5% for math. Modest gain, but something to be proud of.
These are our ELA scores for the last 2 years.
Now, I want to, ELA, we maintain proficient levels at 2% for ELA between 2013 and 2014. Our percentage at level 2 rose to 24% scoring at level 2. So what that means, as we look at this data, we can begin to identify those that are scoring at level 2s and provide more intervention to help those students get to level 3s. And those are some of the things that we began to look at more closely, paying attention to our data and where we could move students from one level to the next. One of the things and I apologize for not putting this up here, we've been doing really well on our science exams. We were at 35% for science, and that was really good. And our individualized scores, our NWEAs and our Lexia scores, that monitors individualized growth. And most of our students, actually all of our students, met national or exceed national standards in those areas, meaning that wherever they were in the beginning of the year, their expected growth level occurred or exceeded what was expected. So our students are growing.
Mr. Freeman was there. This was my first year at the school. Mr. Freeman had been there 2 previous years prior to my arrival. These are the action steps that we're looking at to improve schools 44. These are not inclusive. These are not the end-all, be-all. These are not the comprehensive actions, but just the beginning steps of what we will do in order to turn the school around. Tonight's meeting is an opportunity to look at what we're thinking of doing and add your ideas and suggestions to this plan. As I said earlier, School 44 was written, School 44 had a SIG grant written for it, a school improvement grant, and that had to be submitted on July 22nd. All of the work for the SIG grant went through our school-based planning team, and our school-based planning team is a combination of parents, administrators, teachers, RAD members. The key elements of the grant, we're going to focus on the pre-K and kindergarten classes and try to build early literacy. We're going to look to build stronger instruction and support systems. We'll use those common formative assessments, and we've done that a lot this year, and I think that's one of the reasons that our scores are moving. We work with NWEA, Lexia, Compass, Ames Web, and it shows growth over the last year. One of the things that happened in our school is we had a state review, and when the state reviewers came in, they looked at our delivery of instruction. They gave us suggestions, and one of the things that they suggested was we improve on our delivery of instruction. And in order to do that, we're going to look at differentiating our instruction. So what that means is we need to do a better job at assessing what individual students need and develop lessons so that individual students can move from where they are and grow that way. So we need to tailor our instruction to the students in front of us. We are focusing on the Common Core learning standards. All of our students in the building received a full set of the Common Core standards written in kid-friendly language. We are also working with the district in New York State using the Danielson framework to improve teacher performance. We have an expanded learning time grant this year. We also had that last year, but this year we have a more significant opportunity to build this program. We have, last year, our expanded learning time was around 200 hours. This year, we're closer to 300 hours. Another thing that was suggested in the review by the state was that we strengthen our school climate and our social emotional support to students. We do have a PBIS team in place, and that team is used to build positive incentives for our students. We have a creed that the students can recite. We recite it every morning. Mr. Freeman is on the PA giving our messages every day, and the students can recite the message by heart, and they really have internalized it. It's not just words that they're echoing. We are going to work on making a more visible culture of respect and rapport. We're going to add a character education program where there'll be 6 traits that we will look at, and the students will learn what those traits mean and learn how to model those traits and internalize them. We also are going to work on it with restorative justice, and we'll talk a little bit more on that. So we've talked a little bit about what we're going to do with pre-K and early literacy.
So just digging a little deeper, this is one of the books that you just spoke on, focused on pre-K and early literacy. With our pre-K classroom, we will have the support of an additional social worker and speech teacher to build early literacy, strong focus on language development and reading. What this would allow us to do is to be proactive as young students, our young children, our young babies enter our school. We get them really early, identify where they might be struggling at, and provide the intervention before they get to kindergarten, before they get to first grade. So we're doing this at the pre-K level. The additional social worker will work with the classroom teacher and families to improve student attendance, as well as provide social emotional support for the initial days of school. Unbeknown to many folks, our baby struggles. I come from the high school for many years, and some of the things that I see in high school, it really was, it threw me back to see some of the same issues dealing with attendance at the pre-K level. Our school attendance hovers around 93% in our general population. Our students from first grade through 6th grade. Our pre-K was around 80-something%. So we knew as we embraced our pre-K program this year, it's something that we have to address and have to address it with the parents and teach them the importance, or provide the support to make sure whatever prohibiting them or impeding them from getting their child to school, that we come up with some type of plan to help improve attendance at an early age.
We talked again about the SIG grant, and the additional social worker would be funded, would be one of the things that would happen because we are awarded the SIG grant. We talked a little bit about those common assessments, and we use the same assessments in School 44 that the district uses. We use them religiously. Our students are on the computers all the time, building their skills using these programs. And then the information makes it very easy for the teachers to progress monitor the growth of the students. Actually, our students are really good at monitoring their own progress. Our teachers have places in their classroom, and the children know where to go to see where they are performing, and they move themselves up or down depending on the progress that they are making. We're going to continue this practice and even spend more time doing it because it's working. We talked a little bit about the differentiated instruction, and again, what we mean by this is these are the decisions that the teachers would make based on what they know about the children and what they need in order to learn the information. Everybody doesn't learn the same way, and so teachers need to make decisions about how Donna is going to learn best. We don't teach to the middle, we don't teach to the top, we don't teach to the bottom, but we teach for what every student needs in the classroom. Are we there yet with this practice? Absolutely not. Are we going to train it in? Are we going to practice? Are we going to get better? Absolutely.
Expanded learning time. We have an after-school program that will occur this year. And we're doing something unique that we also, is one of the ways in which students learn. We partner with the YMCA that will help our students learn different aspects of life. It will help us develop them socially and emotionally, teach them how to work in groups, teach them how to receive different aspects of learning from folks outside of their normal teaching day. This redesign is an expanding school time to improve opportunities and outcomes for high poverty students, harnessing the power of time to realize a vision of high quality education for all. This, as I talked about, is our partnership with the Y, and the Y will assist us in offering our students a range of activities to create and accelerate learning for our students. Our students enjoyed the Y experience last year. I saw through our data that our suspensions went down, our visits to the office went down, and I contribute that to some of the experience that they gained from the Y. I will often leave the school to visit the YMCA to see how the program was running, to see the newfound expressions and looks on our student faces. And to add, the Y was, our teachers would send their lesson plans to the Y. So it wasn't, we send our students to the Y and they just run their own curriculum. They would get input from our staff and incorporate the themes that are being taught in the classroom with their activities. So our students not only getting enriched socially and emotionally, the Y was also reinforcing some of the concepts and themes that the teachers were teaching during the course of the week.
Well, what you have to know about expanded learning time, more time doesn't equal quality. It is what you do at that time, how you manage that time with the students in order to get the improvements that you need. And sometimes kids just need to run and play and have some fun. They have a lot of energy, and the opportunity for students to go to the Y and participate in some physical activities during the morning hours and then come back to the school help to provide them with more focus. Mr. Freeman talked about our reduction in suspensions. This year, we don't have the opportunity to go to the Y, but the Y will be coming to us in the AM, and then after school, a portion of the after-school team will be Y counselors, and the other half of the team will be teachers from School 44.
Strengthening school climate and social emotional support. We will enhance our PBIS program. So training occurred this summer from our leadership team, and we will strengthen what we do with PBIS. So it was one of the recommendations that the state gave us upon their visit. We only can get better. Character Education Program, Project Wisdom, is a collection of thought-provoking messages that are focused on students doing their very best each day. Additionally, classroom lesson plans and activities are provided to expand it on the daily message. Character Counts is an immersive program connecting staff and students through a shared language and framework of values called the 6 Pillars of Character that Mrs. Galileo Anderson mentioned earlier. It fosters a positive environment that has been shown to improve overall attendance and test scores by reducing negative incidences such as bullying and discipline referrals. Character Counts is a framework for teaching good character and composed of 6 ethical values: trustworthiness, fairness, caring, respect, citizenship, and responsibility.
This is a research-based program, and I used it in one of the previous schools that I was at, and the students loved being a part of it. And after they mastered each one of these values, the students are given a dog tag, and they collect each of the dog tags with the names of the character on the dog tags, and we celebrate their accomplishments each and every month. We already do that with the PBIS, but this is only going to strengthen what we do, and this has added a research-based program to the PBIS we do in the building already.
Ma'am?
Yes.
What is PBIS?
I'm sorry. It is a positive behavior program. In addition to what we talked about with the character ed, the positive messages in the morning from Project Wisdom, we'd like to add a piece called morning meetings. Morning meetings will ground the students, and actually ground all of us when we come to school. It's just really good practice, and what happens is our students come into the building, our teachers greet them, they have a conversation, something exciting might have happened last night, and students have an opportunity to talk about what happened. The teacher provides an activity for the whole group, and then students can share what happened in the activity and how they're feeling about it. Ms. Berrettini was our first grade teacher last year, and she'll be our kindergarten teacher this year. And Ms. Berrettini is known for morning meetings, and you'll go by her classroom and you'll hear singing, and before she even lets the children into the classroom, she's had conversations with every one of them in the hallway. Restorative Initiatives is not new to the district, but what we're doing is doing a better job of preparing administrators and teachers to work with students on these practices. What we hope to do is build community in our school through this restorative initiative. You can have circle time where we sit in a circle and we focus ourselves and we talk about perhaps an incident that might happen in the school. Bullying happens. How are you feeling about that? What did you see happen? How might we respond to that differently? How did you feel when that happened to you? Who could have helped you with that? What was another choice you could have made? So we focus very specifically on actions, and we try to do it in a way that is positive and that it builds the children, it builds their bank of choices for the future. It's all done respectfully, and hopefully it is something that we do with students, not for them or not to them. When you discipline a student, it feels like it's being done to them. Children will actually have an opportunity to talk about perhaps what a consequence would be for an action that was taken. So students have a lot more power in this process. Again, Mr. Freeman and I spent an extensive amount of time with our students, with our families. We don't believe in suspension. I've been in the district, this will be my 39th year. Suspensions don't work. And we work really, really hard not to suspend students from school. We prefer to talk to the students, talk to the families, and figure out alternative processes so students learn from what happened and hopefully that practice doesn't happen again.
This practice builds community. It builds trust. It teaches the kids about empathy. It teaches the kids about forgiveness.
Yes.
It helps the teacher, the process itself helps the teacher build relationships with the students going through the process itself. And research shows that when you build relationships with your students, they perform better. So it not only helps the student, it helps the teacher. It helps administration. They begin to know that their classmates care about them. Their classmates are listening to them. Their teacher knows their story, and they hear them.
The community engagement team, again, community engagement team is part of the receivership process. We do have a team that we formed with community members, parents, teachers, and administrators. I'm going to be very transparent here. We called people that we knew would work with us. We already have a partnership with the Southwest area of to get ourselves off the receivership list. The other purpose of this community team is to monitor the work that we do, to make sure that we are abiding by the guidelines of the receivership, and that we are all working towards closing that achievement gap. We need everybody's help. Tonight, we hope you will provide us with some feedback, some suggestions, some comments. We have easels around the room. There are areas to focus the conversation on each of the easels. One is leadership practices. Another is community partnerships, parents and community involvement. Another is curriculum. Another is teacher instruction. What we hope is that you will divide up into these groups and give us feed forward so that we can use your suggestions and integrate it into the work that we are going to do from this night forward. Are there questions, comments? Yes.
Donna, are you working to establish the community engagement team according to the regulations? Are you getting?
Yes, because what
it's
we
not
did,
formed yet. It's being formed
well,
according
we
to
have
the
a team of
regulations.
people that we talk to about the process and asked if they'd like to join, because all of this was done in a very, very tight timeline, but it is not etched in stone, and yes, we can, and we will invite new members to join us.
But are you
according to the regulations?
right? Because
Yes.
has the district made you aware of the specific regulations? 'Cause
Yes.
they're very specific.
Mm-hmm.
They involve elections and
Yes,
and
I read
official
all, yes, I
constituents
did
and
read
so
all
forth.
about that, yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Georgia Wilson.
And who's the parent, the liaison to the board? Like, which board member is the liaison? You know?
Our board member is
Willa Powell.
Willa Powell.
How often, I guess I can talk to you later, but how often has she visited and talked to you? Or, I know you said you just came this year, right?
Yes,
Or last year?
here in September.
Okay.
Willa was there this year a couple of times. She was there most recently, I think it was in the month of May or June, doing a tour of the building, actually, touring the building. Other questions? Yes.
I just want to get some clarity on how do we get to this point.
I can't hear you.
I would like to get clarity on how do we get to this point to have all of these schools drop to this point to where they're not performing.
That's a really good question.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Ray Giamartino. I'm the Chief of School Transformation. I work directly with all of the priority elementary schools, as well as 5 additional schools. Some of the challenges that the district has faced have really resulted in some of the lack of performance. What we've done to really begin to garner increased successes is definitively work to focus on identifying markers of success, where conducting gap analyses along where students are underperforming. We've also gathered data specifically on student entry baseline data. What we've found is that in some cases, we have students entering pre-K or kindergarten almost 18 months behind. So some of the information that we're using to ramp up some of the professional development that we're actually going through right now, the intent and the plan is that it will close the achievement gap. One of the other pieces that Mrs. Gadolero-Anderson referenced specifically, we're going through a district-wide revamping of the training that teachers and administrators are taking part in. And that's through the Danielson framework. It's called the Danielson framework. And what we're doing is we're really looking at the levels of rigor that we're targeting in our classrooms. So a good example of that is I've been in Mrs. Berrettini's classroom a number of times. So she isn't talking to her students as if they're kindergartners or first graders. As a matter of fact, she's looking at outcomes very specifically to where they're having conversations around what they need to do to get into the second grade, into the third grade. So they're really looking at long-range planning.
So to piggyback off of his question, I understand what you're saying, but what I think, if you don't mind me, is the statement that you gave about the majority of our pre-K and kindergartners being 18 months behind. That's actually a national figure. That's just not a Rochester City School
Correct.
figure.
And I didn't
What
say
his specific question is, why are we struggling as Rochester City School District? And I think part of that is the training that your administration are going through, and what they're saying is part of that going to address the cultivation of mindset that your staff
So
and your
that's it.
administrators have
So I
for the
appreciate
community
it.
and the students that they work
Thank you.
with, which is part of the reason why we have this problem.
Thank you very much for that prompt.
This is correct. I just want to add real quick and hand it back to you. Student system. What are the problems with the system? What are the problems with the students? What are you doing about it?
So I wouldn't say thank you,
You're welcome.
especially for the mindset piece, because that's
huge.
Very big.
That's
It's
significant.
very, very.
So I would reframe saying problems with students, because it's not that our students have problems. What we have as an organization is we have to, I'm going to use the mindset piece as a springboard. What we've done is we've begun to change our mindset, shift our mindset around really not looking at student needs from a deficit model, but really from a strength-based model. And what are the strengths our students come in with? And really focus very specifically on building upon those strengths. And the key, again, thank you for mentioning the mindset shift. The key is really reframing and retraining. Reframing our thinking, retraining our personnel from teachers to administrators to custodial teams, the entire personnel that we work with, to ensure that we are thinking in terms of, and quite frankly, our actions reflect the strengths, drawing from the strengths of our students. So it's not that I meant to reference the national data, but more specifically, really think in terms of how we can close that achievement gap and look at it from a strength-based lens. So thank you for
You're welcome. I just didn't want him to think
No,
that
and I appreciate it
that was a
because-
statement from the district where
In any of these slides, that you're intentionally addressing the highest number of students that you serve. And I think that, you know, if we look around the world, look at our community, we have to intentionally do that. Showing our students on purpose, there are African American exemplars in our books.
Yes.
I mean, we talk about it and we say it and we rally, but what do we do when it comes down to the classroom? And we intentionally, you know, I sat and I heard people talk about the services that we have, and educators that have been in our district for 20 years never really had it. So I think that maybe we should try it and then see what the statistics will be from that. You know, including that, like purposely including that in what we're doing. I mean, I have a child at 44, but it breaks my heart that, and I commend y'all for standing here doing this, but we have to do something different. It's insanity to keep doing the same thing. And I'm frustrated. I'm sitting here frustrated. I'm being, you know, as a parent and as a leader, I'm being diplomatic, but it's irritating. It's like, I've heard this before. We talk about it. We commentate. You know, how do we work together and really move forward?
Thank you. So to answer your question, I'm going to use one of the words you used, and that's really moving with intentionality, because we have to. And you're right. I've been affiliated with the district a couple of different times, almost 10 years cumulatively. And the one I actually had a conversation with a colleague, with one of the deputy superintendents today, around the work that we used to do. And the work that we're doing now, and it has been both a mindset shift, but also a literal shift in our practices. And what I mean by that is that, and you've hit it on the head, doing the same thing over and over is insanity. What we've begun to do is we've begun to literally transform the professional development that we're taking part in, so much so that over the past 3 days, and it's amazing to me that sometimes what ends up happening, I think, in larger organizations is that there become these disparate kind of silos. And we've pulled that together. And over the past 2 days, today, Monday, Tuesday, and then tomorrow, every administrator in the district is taking part in a professional learning series. It's referred to as Right Foot. And it's the intent is to start the year off on the right foot, meaning the correct. But the point is that intentionality. It's anchoring everyone, it's getting everyone on the same page around the focus of the district's comprehensive improvement plan, focusing very specifically on those targets around differentiated instruction. Something, to be very frank, and I saw my colleague Michelle kind of nod when you mentioned intentionality and kind of some disparities. We as an organization have started and stopped multiple times over the decade that I've been affiliated with the district. And this is the first time, and again, I made this comment today, this is the first time we've actually put the plow down and said every single one of us in this room, in this organization, are going to go through the same training, the same focused training to where we are being assessed on our efficacy, the effectiveness of our practice. So we're going through, I mentioned earlier, the Danielson rubric, training on getting into classrooms, those look-throughs. What are we looking for to make sure that we're targeting those higher level thinking skills our kids deserve? What are we getting into classrooms and into buildings and looking very specifically for providing an equitable access to those balanced programs that our kids deserve? Programs, services, it's all encompassing. And I see that as something that can work and work well. If you look outside of this organization to other school districts, to highly effective school districts and highly successful school districts, they're doing it. I think it took a number of years for it to come to fruition here, but we are doing that now, and it's exciting work. It really is.
Right.
Yes.
With all due respect, she was talking specifically about culturally competent,
No.
culturally connected. No, let me.
Sure.
Teaching, and she's talking about the fact that we have over, a significant majority African American students, and then another significant number of Latino students, and then another beautifully diverse group of people from all over the world. But we have a significant majority of African American and children of color. And it seems like as a district we are reluctant to talk about that and to talk about what that means to have confidence in teaching children of color. And benefit, let me finish, please. And that benefits white children as well, having an actual inclusive curriculum. So we do have on shelves excellent work that's been being produced for decades by the Rochester Teacher Center. And since everyone else is citing Ms. Berrettini for, getting kids ready for second grade, what really is competent and exemplary excellence in Ms. Berrettini is the fact that she's been working with the Rochester Teacher Center for decades, years and years anyway. So she has taken her time to go and to learn the exemplars, the standards, the approaches for teaching children of color. There's lessons that have been produced, beautiful lessons about teaching children, about their ancestry and so forth, that are not disseminated. So when we talk about doing everything with every teacher, if we mean it, if we really mean about getting to excellence, then those lessons and those approaches and those highly qualified educators that house themselves in the Teacher Center and do work quietly over and over and over again on the margins, they would be brought into the center and they would be disseminated widely, and that would become a core of what we do to see improvement. Because if we actually became excellent at teaching children of color, that's how we would turn the district around. And when I say teaching children of color, I don't mean teaching children of color, teaching white children, because it's actually excellence for all children.
So thank you for.
Can I respond to that? Go ahead. Do you mind if I just respond to that? So when you were speaking it made me think that one of our pieces that we may want to include in this, there's a piece about professional development. I am on the policy board of the Rochester Teacher Center and have worked very closely with Dr. Goodwin, who's the director of the Teacher Center, for quite a number of years. That might really be the place to go, to have some professional development for the staff at School 44 and to learn some best practices for really, looking at culturally responsive curriculum, for looking at best practices for teaching children of color. And as Mary said, I have been doing that for quite some time and have
Forceful, and I can speak from experience. My daughter, she just moved up, going on to 7th grade, and she's been there since kindergarten. And the challenge for our community at Lincoln Park has always been the consistency of leadership. We have not had a consistent principal. They're here 1 year, they're out the next. They're here 2 years, they're out the next. And then that next principal has to come along and reestablish him or herself, and it's a challenge. And then some of the teachers, they fall by the wayside because you now have to get acclimated to another form of leadership. So, how can you guarantee us that we're going to have consistent leadership at Lincoln Park?
I can tell you that, made sure that Mr. Freeman would stay. That was very, very important to me and to the school. Maybe like events that might have been historical, perhaps were not on the calendar, and that's feed forward for us. We had